I swore I'd never set foot in that town again. Promised myself that if life ever forced me back, I'd vanish instead, disappear into the world anywhere but there. But then my mother died. And with her went the last excuse I had to stay away. The news came on one of those suffocating afternoons, when the air feels thick and time seems to melt right off your skin. The call was brief, almost cold. The man on the other end spoke with the tone of someone reading off a grocery list. Helena Ward. Cardiac arrest. No immediate family listed in the area. But I was her only son. And even after more than a decade gone, even after walking away from everything, I couldn't just ignore it. I hit the road that same day. And here's the strange part. The moment I crossed into Greymount, everything seemed to slow down. Not just in my head, physically. The GPS froze. The radio crackled with static. And out of nowhere the sky turned gray, like the whole town existed inside its own pocket of time. Nothing had changed. Not one damn thing. Same weathered storefronts. Same cracked sidewalks. And that same eerie quiet, like everyone was listening, pretending to live but waiting for something. I made my way toward downtown and parked right outside Mrs. Mather's flower shop. She was still there. Or maybe someone who looked just like her. Same silver braid. Same far-off stare. The weirdest part? She looked exactly the same. Not older. Not tired. Just untouched. As if time had skipped this place. As if time didn't work here. I went straight to the clerk's office to sign the burial forms. The man behind the counter was paper-thin, with hands too long for his frame. He passed me the documents with trembling fingers, but said nothing. No condolences. No small talk. Just stared, with hollow eyes. Like he wanted to tell me something. But wasn't allowed to speak. I only understood why later. At the funeral, there were 5 people. That's it. No familiar faces. No one from the old neighborhood. They buried my mother in a far-off corner of the cemetery, where the grass grew wild, and the headstones looked too new. When the priest finished his prayers, no one came to offer comfort. No one reached out. No words. No hugs. But every single one of them stared. As if I had come back too late. As I was leaving, I heard my name. Elliot. I turned around. It was Thomas. My best friend from back when we were teenagers. He was standing under the shadow of a tree, but he didn't look happy to see me. You shouldn't have come back, he said, keeping his distance. What happened to her, Tom? Why did so few people show up? He hesitated. People don't tend to stick around here after 30? What do you mean? He looked down, fidgeting, nervous. I can't talk about it. But if you're smart, you'll leave before September. Why September? He looked up, and the way he stared at me made my stomach twist. How much time do you have left? It took me a second to realize what he meant. And then I remembered. My birthday. September. I'd be turning exactly 33. I didn't say a word. And before I could press him, Thomas turned and slipped away between the gravestones, like he was afraid someone might see him talking to me. That night, I went back to my mother's old house. It was just like I remembered. Faded floral wallpaper, heavy wooden furniture. And that strange smell, like burnt candles and dust. In the hallway, the old wall clock was still ticking. But the hands were stuck, forever frozen at 3:33 a.m. Even when I was a kid, that always gave me chills. My mother used to say it was just a broken mechanism. But the hands, they never moved. Not once. I went upstairs to my old bedroom. The bed was still made. On the nightstand, an old family photo. And then something froze me in place. It was the 3 of us, me, my mom, and my dad. But my dad's face had been scratched out. Not cut. Not torn. Scratched. Like someone had dragged their nails over it, again and again, in anger. I remembered he died young. At 33. Cause of death, undetermined. That's what the report said. My mother never spoke about it. Whenever I asked, she'd only say, "Time collects its debts, Elliot. All of them." Back then, I thought it was just a metaphor. Now, I'm not so sure. Later that night, I went up to the attic. There was an old chest tucked beneath the eaves, its lid sealed with rusted clasps, and the initials HW embossed in faded gold. Forcing it open wasn't hard. Inside, I found something that sent a chill crawling up my spine. A journal. Its cover was worn, the leather cracked with age. The pages inside were yellowed and stained. But right there, scrawled across the very first line, was a phrase that made my blood run cold. Today is the day. The same day every time. 33 times the clock resets. 33 times it collects. Let the children never forget. I shut the journal. My eyes drifted, almost involuntarily, toward the mirror on the wall. I saw myself, but I didn't recognize the man staring back. There was something different in the eyes, as if they knew a secret my mind wasn't ready to accept. And then I heard it. 3 sharp knocks. At the front door. 1, 2, 3. Someone was there. At 3:33 a.m. At the house of a recently deceased woman. On an empty street. In a town where no one lives past 33. The knocks stopped as abruptly as they'd begun. I stood frozen. Listening. Silence. I pulled back the curtain just a little, and looked out into the night. The street was empty. No cars. No footsteps. No sound. Only the faint steady tick, 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 of the broken clock downstairs, forever stuck at 3:33. I crept down the stairs, barefoot, the floorboards cold beneath my feet. When I opened the door, there was no one there. Only a small brown envelope, carefully placed on the doormat. No name. No return address. Hands shaking, I picked it up. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded once. The handwriting was shaky. And the message was short. They watch. They always have. At 33, time takes its toll. Leave while you still can. And beneath that message, in smaller, shaky handwriting, barely legible, a final line had been added. Your mother tried to break the cycle, and paid with her time. I swallowed hard. The air in the house suddenly felt heavier, like I had read something I was never meant to see. I went back up to the attic. I had to read more. I needed to understand. The journal was still there. Her handwriting wavered, shifting between clarity and madness, like it was written in and out of lucidity. Halfway through a stained page, I found a passage that made my skin crawl. They don't allow the old to stay. They won't let the body witness forgetting. Every 33 is an offering, and fresh blood keeps the ancient asleep. It was madness. It was impossible. But something deep inside me had already accepted it, before my mind could catch up. By morning, I needed answers. I left the house and walked into town. The streets were eerily quiet, even under the sun. The people I passed moved like shadows, all of them young. None appeared older than 30. I went straight to the municipal records office. Same man behind the desk as before. Thin, pale, those unsettlingly long fingers. Same hollow stare. I asked to access the town's historical records. I needed proof. I needed to find someone, anyone, over 33. He hesitated. Public records are currently being digitized, he said without meeting my eyes. You can access anything from 1989 onward. And before that? I asked. Missing. I pushed harder. Demanded more. That's when he smiled. But it wasn't a friendly smile. It was hollow, void of warmth. You know, Mr. Ward, some things aren't meant to be found, or even searched for. Then he did something that froze the blood in my veins. He raised his hand, and pointed to the clock hanging on the wall behind him. 3:33. In the middle of the day. Right there in plain sight. So, stuck. Watching. I walked out of that building with a strange weight on my chest. The unshakable feeling that everyone was performing. Like the town itself was just a stage, barely holding together a secret on the verge of collapse. I made my way to the old public library. Inside, dust hung in the air like ash, and behind the desk there she was, Mrs. Doyle. The same librarian from my childhood. Same face. Same glasses. Same tightly pinned hair. Mrs. Doyle? I asked, trying to hide my shock. She looked up over the rim of her glasses. Elliot Ward, you've grown. Then, with a calm that made my skin crawl. It's time, isn't it? Time for what? I asked, but she didn't answer. Your mother was here almost every day the past few weeks, she said, turning back to a stack of papers. She was searching for old maps. Books that don't exist anymore. Was she investigating something? She was trying to stop the inevitable. There was a sadness in her voice. A quiet resignation. As if the fate of this place was common knowledge, just never spoken aloud. I asked to see the archives. Old newspapers. Anything before the digital age. And buried between yellowed clippings from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, a pattern emerged. Obituaries. Dozens of them. Always between the ages of 32 and 34. Always the same wording. Unexpected passing. Circumstances undisclosed. There were no deaths from old age. No cancer. No degenerative illness. It was as if no one here was ever allowed to grow old. I left before sunset. Something deep inside warned me, don't be out past 6. As night crept in, I returned to the attic and opened the journal again. One near illegible note caught my eye. The ritual happens at the crossroads. 33 steps from the old school bell. Those who hear the whispers never sleep again. Next to it, a drawing. A circular symbol. 3 spirals turning in opposite directions. Enclosed by shapes that looked like eyes. A sigil I'd never seen before. But somehow, it felt familiar. Deeply familiar. And then, once again, 3 knocks. But this time, I heard something. Whispers. Soft. What? Inhuman. I pressed my ear against the wood, and heard my name. Elliot, come see. Come remember? I pulled away shaking. But then I saw it. Seeping beneath the bottom edge of the door. A thick, dark drop. Oozing slowly. As if something was melting on the other side. I stumbled backward, heart pounding, and slammed the basement door shut behind me. The candle went out. The clock, 3:33. And I knew then, without a doubt, my mother hadn't died of natural causes. She had tried to warn me. She had found out what everyone else pretends not to know. And I had exactly 1 month and 4 days left to live. I didn't sleep that night. How could anyone sleep after hearing their own name whispered through a door? By something that wasn't human? The house was drowning in silence. A silence so dense, it felt like it was pressing down on my chest. Like the air was being slowly drained from the room. Outside there was no wind. No insects. No life. It was as if the whole town was waiting for something. By morning I tried to convince myself it was grief. Stress. A decaying town and an exhausted mind playing tricks on me. But when I opened the front door, the dark stain was still there. Dried. Stuck to the wood like scorched resin. I knelt down, reached out, and touched it with the tip of my finger. Rough. Warm. Like dried blood fused with melted wax. And the smell. Sweet. Sickening. Like rotting meat soaked in honey. I stumbled back inside. Gagging. I needed answers. And there was only one person left in this place. Who might still give them to me. Thomas. After hours of searching. And countless suspicious stares from strangers. I finally found him. Thomas. He was standing near the abandoned sawmill at the edge of town, where the trees pressed in like silent witnesses. When he saw me, he froze. Elliot, you shouldn't have come looking for me. You know what's happening here? I said, stepping closer. Tell me the truth. I can't. My mother died trying to speak. I've seen the records. There's no one over 33 in this damn town. That's not normal. None of this is. He looked down. His hands trembled. You really want to know? He asked, voice low. He hesitated, took a slow, deep breath. Then quietly. It started before the town. Before names. Before maps. Before language. What are you talking about? He scanned the woods, checking if we were alone. Then he whispered, barely moving his lips. The wax man. A chill crawled down my spine. Greymount, it's a prison, Thomas said. A pact sealed centuries ago. To contain something that can't be killed, only kept asleep. How? With fresh blood. Young life. At 33, we're collected. Dissolved in time. The town offers. And he sleeps a little longer. This is insane. It's not religion, he said flatly. It's a contract. He looked at me. Eyes hollow. The blood clock marks the chosen. What the hell is that supposed to mean? You'll see, he said. Soon. I left in a haze, head spinning, heart hammering in my chest. When I got home, I went straight to the bathroom to splash cold water on my face. But the water felt heavy, thick, almost syrupy. And then I saw it. On my wrist. 3 tiny red dots. Arranged like clock hands. 3:33. I scrubbed, scratched, clawed at the skin. But they wouldn't come off. They were inside me. That night I made a choice. I would explore the town. Follow the words from my mother's journal. 33 steps after the school bell. The old school sat on a lonely hill, abandoned for decades. Its windows were boarded shut. Its roof sagged under time and silence. At midnight, the bell rang. By itself. No wind. No motion. Just that sound. Ripping through the night like a blade humming in the dark. I took 33 steps. And there, nestled between 2 gnarled trees, I found it. A heavy iron door embedded in the earth, buried beneath soil and root. Almost hidden. Almost like it wanted to stay closed. I forced it open. And descended. The smell hit me instantly. Hot wax and old blood. Stale and thick in the air like breath that had been trapped for centuries. The tunnel was narrow. Its walls lined with strange carvings. Spirals. Clocks without numbers. And deeper inside, I heard it. ticking sound, steady, like a mechanical heart pulsing underground. And then, the chamber. At the center stood a black stone altar, drenched in the wax of melted white candles, their flames long dead. Behind it, a mural. Dozens, no hundreds, of faces drawn by hand. All young, all terrified. And right in the center, my father. His face etched in the stone. His eyes slashed out with something sharp. His mouth frozen open in an eternal scream. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. On the ground, between the candles, I saw a thick, ancient book. I opened it. Each page bore a name. A resident of Greymount. And next to each name, a date. Always the same age. Always 33. And there it was. My name. Elliot Ward, September 12th. At the very end of the book, a symbol. The same one from my mother's journal. 3 spirals surrounded by watching eyes. And beneath it, a single phrase, written in dried blood. Time is flesh. And flesh is death. I heard footsteps. I slammed the book shut and blew out the candle, then hid behind the altar, holding my breath. 3 hooded figures entered the chamber. They were dragging someone, young, bound, screaming. "One more, to keep the cycle," said a voice I recognized. The librarian, Mrs. Doyle. They laid the boy on the altar, his cries echoing off the stone. And then, a blade, black as night, obsidian. The ritual began. I couldn't stay. I ran, blind, panicked. I don't remember how I got home. My legs were shaking when I reached the front door. And waiting there, taped to the wood, a new note. "Now you've seen. Now you know. And now, you belong." Inside the house, every candle lit itself, one by one, casting long, twitching shadows across the walls. And the clock, for the first time in years, began to tick. I'm recording this now, not out of courage, but fear. If you're hearing this, it means you found the tapes, or the town allowed them to find you. But don't be fooled. If they reached you, you've already been noticed. Since that night beneath the school, something changed. Inside me, around me, the house responds to me now. The candles light themselves. The clock strikes 3:33, even though it hasn't been wound in decades. And the mirror in the hallway no longer reflects my eyes. I started recording because I feel like I'm forgetting pieces of myself. Not memories, but identity. Like something's being scraped off me day by day. I speak, and don't recognize my own voice. I walk, and don't hear my own footsteps. The town is absorbing me. Yesterday I tried to leave. Got in the car. Pedaled down. Straight down the main road. But after 40 minutes, still driving in a straight line, I was right back where I started. Same crooked mailbox. Same cracked sidewalk. And the same rusted sign at the edge of town, blinking in and out. Greymount, time lives here. The town is a loop. A maze. A sealed organism folding in on itself. And it doesn't let go once you're marked. I stumbled back home. And there, waiting on the rug in my living room, was the box. It hadn't been there before. Someone had left it while I was gone. Inside, a single cassette tape. Faded label handwritten. EW, final entry. Dad. My hands were shaking. I found the old tape recorder in the attic. Pressed play. The voice that came out was mine. Just softer, sadder, tired, resigned. "Son, if you're hearing this, it means you came back. And if you came back, it means you've already been chosen. When I turned 33, the town called for me too. I tried to escape. I tried to warn your mother. But there's no running from a pack that lives in your blood. They don't kill us. Not in the way you think. They consume us, melt our memories, replace our time with theirs. Greymount is alive. It feeds on what we are, on what we leave behind. And the wax man, he's just the collector. Then, static. And beneath it, sobbing. Full, ragged, choked with something deeper than fear. I saw his face, and what I saw still lives inside me. Maybe it lives in you too. If you want to end this, go to the blood clock, the one in the center. The tower everyone pretends not to see. Climb the 33 steps. Lock yourself inside. And, listen. The tape ended with a dry click. And for a moment, I heard my own voice. Behind me, I turned. No one there. Just the mirror. And in it, a reflection that wasn't mine. It was him. The wax man. Skin melting in thick, syrupy drips. Eyes like wells of black wax. Arms far too long to be human. And his face was stuck to mine. Merging, fusing, becoming. I ran to the kitchen, splashed my face, tried to scream, but my throat wouldn't move. I grabbed my mother's journal, flipped to the final pages. There it was. The tower is in the center. It's always been there, but only the marked can see it, and only the chosen can climb. Not to destroy, but to accept. That's when I understood. The town wasn't just trapping me, it was changing me. The memories I had of growing up here, they're fading. Names, smells, faces, gone. And in their place, sounds, whispers, words I never learned, but now understand. I left the house that night. It was now, or never, and the town was empty, as if everyone had vanished. Or maybe they were watching from afar. I walked through the center of Greymount, and for the first time, I saw the tower, tall, Gothic, built from black stone. No windows, just a single iron door carved with the symbol, a spiral clock. It had never been there before. Or maybe it always was, but only now. I could finally see it. I touched the handle. It was warm, beating, like a pulse. I pushed and stepped inside. The tower was silent, warm, thick. The walls felt like flesh. With every step I climbed, a sound, tick-tock, tick-tock. On the 10th step, I heard my mother's voice calling my name. On the 20th, my father whispering, "Come back, Elliot, please come back." On the 30th, my own voice, crying. And on the 33rd, silence. At the top there was only an altar, a single candle, and a mirror. That was all. I looked into the mirror and saw it myself, but it was already too late. My reflection didn't move, it just smiled and whispered, "Now we are one." The candle went out. In the distance the town's clock chimed, 3:33, and everything went dark. Today is September 11th. Just a few hours left. Maybe minutes. Maybe even less. The town doesn't try to trick me anymore. It's waiting. The streets are empty. But I know I'm not alone. Behind shuttered windows, eyes are watching. I feel them. In the cracks. In the reflections. In the mirrors. As if every house were a mouth, just waiting to swallow me whole. When I woke up today, something new was written on my bedroom wall, scrawled by hand, in a thick red substance that smelled like melted wax and iron. Today the cycle completes. The town is in absolute silence. No wind, no sound, no time. And then, at exactly 3:33 p.m., the bells began to ring. Not just the one in the old school, all of them, at once. The sound echoed like a low hum inside a living skull. It pulled me toward the center of town. And there, they were. Everyone, the townspeople, lined up along the sidewalks, motionless, dressed in black, wearing wax masks over their faces. Masks molded in their own likenesses, slowly melting, dripping onto the asphalt like living tears. A circle opened for me. They let me through, as if this was always meant to be. In the town square, where the old fountain once flowed, now stood a massive spiral structure, built from bones, candles, and shattered clocks. And at the center, him, the wax man. He was kneeling, or maybe waiting. Wax poured from his body, as if he were constantly melting and rebuilding, a thing without end. He had no eyes, but he looked straight at me. He had no mouth, but I heard his voice, inside my mind. "You returned. Time called you. Time shaped you. You are clock flesh, an inherited debt. You are the next link." I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. It felt like I was walking on solid time, sticky, clinging to my feet. The candles around us flared to life, and the townspeople began to chant, a language I couldn't understand. Impossible, ancient, circular. I was surrounded, trapped, and deep down, a part of me surrendered, because in that moment, something inside me woke up, a memory that wasn't mine, but had always belonged to me. I saw the birth of the town, the first pact. I saw men split open the earth and bind the heart of time with human blood. I saw my father, on his knees, offering up his own name, in exchange for my life. And now, it was my turn. The wax man stepped forward. He reached out his hand, and for just a moment, I touched his skin. It was warm, alive, and it recognized me. And then, he dissolved, wax melting into the ground. Everything turned white, and weightless, and silent. I woke up at home, but it wasn't my home anymore. The walls were bare. The photos were gone. and the mirror reflected only one thing: him. The image of the wax man, moving without me. I stepped outside. The city was new. Fresh pavement, smiling faces, a new generation, children, teenagers. But no one over 33. As always, I saw Thomas on a street corner. He looked at me and gave a small nod. That's when I understood. He passed too. He was fused, just like me. Now we were all echoes. And as I looked down at my hands, I saw them glisten softly, living wax, dripping from my fingertips. But there was no pain, only time, liquid time, flowing through me. Because now, the city was me, and I was the city. The cycle is complete, and the next one has already begun. Now all I can do is leave this final recording. If you've made it this far, if you've heard my voice, if the city has appeared in your dreams, run. Burn this recording. And never answer if someone calls your name at 3:33, because if you do, they'll know, and you'll come back. Today is September 12th, my birthday, my last day, or maybe my first. I no longer know how many days have passed since I climbed the tower, since I touched time with my own hands, since it saw me and entered. Since then, everything changed. I wake up at the same time, 3:33, every single night. The house is always the same, clean, silent, undisturbed. The world feels suspended, like I'm trapped inside a painting, a portrait, painted by hands too old to understand. I don't feel hunger, or sleep, or pain, but the clock never stops. It spins, and spins, and spins, and sometimes I hear him calling again, the wax man. But now, the voice comes from inside. This morning, I found a mirror in the basement. I didn't remember the mirror being there, but it was. And when I got close, I saw something that froze me. There was no reflection, no trace of me, only the city, alive inside the glass, breathing. Pulses of light moved beneath the streets, like veins. And that's when I understood. I'm a vein, a channel, a conduit. I'm part of the cycle, and the cycle is eternal. I walked to the cemetery. Most of the headstones were covered in moss, but one of them was new. Elliot Ward, September 12th, 33 years. My name, my date, but I'm still here, breathing, recording, telling. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe the voice you're hearing right now isn't mine anymore. Maybe it's his. The city smiles at me now. The people smile. Even without eyes behind the wax masks, even without mouths, they greet me. They respect me. They follow me. I hear footsteps behind me all the time. But when I turn around, it's just me, reflected in every window, every puddle, every shadow, multiplied, distant, broken. The city rebuilt me, and now, I don't want to leave. In the tower, the candle still burns, alone. No wax, no wick, only liquid time. I was chosen. I was shaped. I was absorbed. And now, I choose. If you're hearing this, know this. The city must go on. And for that to happen, others must come. You'll start dreaming of streets that don't exist. You'll see familiar faces in old photos you never took. You'll hear your name whispered exactly at 3:33. And if you answer, you'll be next. Like I was. Like we all were. Like we all will be. Now, silence. The candle has gone out. The house is waiting. And the clock has stopped. If you made it this far, it's already too late. Write in the comments. I heard the whispers. If you listen till the end, and if you dare, come back tomorrow. The next record is already being written.